Welcome to CHOK MUAY Chats episode 5. I'm here with actually my former trainer, Andrew Parnham, a promoter, a gym owner of 2 premises in Sydney, and also the head of Muay Thai New South Wales. Not only that, he often comes to Thailand, has lived in Thailand for a period of time in the mid-2000s, mid-2010s, used to fight, all-round knowledgeable guy of the Muay Thai industry. So I think this will be an interesting chat. Unadulterated chat. We had a bit of dinner beforehand, so this should be good. So Andy, welcome to my podcast. Of course, thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. It was good to see you at Rajadamnern as well. What did you think of Rajadamnern now that, you know, post-COVID, we're into the entertainment era of Muay Thai? What did you take away from that experience?
First, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah.
We've come full circle, and yeah, like you said, it's good to have a feed and catch up and all the rest of it, and see how well you're doing too, and see us now here doing what we're doing. And I think that's really cool. But to actually go back to Rajadamnern for my first entertainment style show, like I can't. It seems like it's just all been this like one big blur now, but going into it, it was a really fun night. Like, I mean, obviously we're there together having a few beers and whatnot, but what they've done with the entertainment side of the show is really, really cool. And actually, like, only a few months ago, I started taking my kids to Sydney Kings games,
Okay.
You know, I remember going to the Sydney Kings, or it was actually, they were called like West's All Stars or whatever back in my day. And just, it was just so much fun because of the entertainment aspect, the crowd participation and all the rest of it. And what Bank's done with RWS, I feel, has brought a lot of that style of entertainment into the show, and the audience is like loving it. And like you see even Matt having a bit of a dance, trying to get on flex cam. So that side of it, I think, was like really, really cool. The quality is good. Like, it's great to see like Western fighters, like even the way they stand and stuff is their stance and the way they're exchanging blows, the way they finish. Like, they'll kick and stand strong after the kick rather than just having a punch up in a ring type of thing. It was phenomenal, and to see how far that come was cool. But I do miss the haze and ha's of the like the Thai, like the gambling audience. That was just that little bit that was missing for me.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that's one thing that is really missing from the scene at the moment, is like the die-hard fans, the gambling audience who know the sport in and out. That's one thing that's missing from that atmosphere, especially.
But like the diehard fan, that's another thing too. Like, we know all the Westerners will watch RWS. Like, that game is so popular, and a lot of people know. So that's cool. It was almost like going to a show, like a really well produced show back home, because everyone was there for the Muay Thai experience. But I just, even me, like, I never fought at a really high level, but I distinctly remember the sounds of every time I hit someone or I got hit, that hey and ha that you know Muay Thai is synonymous for, that wasn't as prevalent, you know.
Did you watch the Pet Yindi show that was a couple of weeks ago? They did the big 5-round Muay Thai with, I think it was crossed with Kiat Pet.
We couldn't. No.
Oh no. Oh, no. But I mean online, because
no, I haven't got a chance to watch it
yet.
Yeah,
it was interesting. It was interesting to see, because at the door they sold something like 2 million bahts worth of tickets.
Yeah.
Which is nearly unheard of until, you know, before the golden era, that sort of period. But you know, I had a few friends that went, and they said it was like pre-COVID, when you had, you know, one song try card, or
oh man, it's just so loud.
Yeah.
Like, even like you and I, like, I remember going together a Channel 7 show. And
that's right. Yeah.
That's like my favourite stadium, and you just knew, like, when you're walking in there, like, it's just intense, and that intensity is not there. But, you know, small price to pay for the sport.
Yeah, I think like a lot of us guys that have been in the sport for maybe say more than 10 years, we're a bit sort of nerdy about what we would say like the old era or the golden era. I mean, the golden era really is like the 90s and the 80s.
Yeah.
But even before that, I mean, even after that, like mid 2010s was a pretty good era for Muay Thai. Like some really high level fights that I can remember, like, Pornsenay Sipmanchai was tearing it up. Anawat. Those Muay and Mat guys who would be considered gods in the entertainment industry because that's the style that they want to see.
But isn't that funny? Like you talk about that now, but I even then remember during that period that people were saying Muay Thai's dead. And
True.
And people were saying like, oh, and then the big one and the one that I always find really interesting about that is like Pet Bunchu. Like,
yeah.
he's like he's one of the greats, all right. But when he came in,
I think he's the most decorated fighter.
Yeah, I think the most stadium belts or something all held that.
Yeah.
But even when he came in, like a lot of people were like upset because he was like people saying it's just boring, and he changed the game because he was just so strong and locked the waist, and people didn't want to see it, so they were trying to change the rules, so to adjust. So those little things back then. And people always look back at the next one, and who knows, like even now, people looking back at what we're going through now will probably say the same. But that whole analogy around the test match cricket versus 2020 cricket, I still feel is like the best analogy.
I've used that before. Like evolution of sports is a thing that happens throughout every single sport.
Yeah.
I mean, you even look at like rugby in Australia. Rugby in Australia is huge. Like I grew up playing rugby union and loving it through my brothers and my dad.
Yeah.
But going and watching it, I hated it. I hated used to go on and watch Eastwood. The vibes were sick going to local Eastwood games. But when they brought in rugby sevens, I loved it.
People go to Hong Kong just to go watch it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, evolution of sports is something that happens throughout every sport.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to articulate that, but like it happens throughout everything, and people can complain about it, but there's always positives because the people who are winning at the end of the athletes. I mean, that's who you're going to see, and when you complain about things within the sport, the only people who lose are the athletes, really.
Yeah, and like that, and it's the same with that with the one gloveless things, and everyone talks about it, but we would like to watch a 5-round blah 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 blah. But then you speak to like a mate who's never watched it before, get them onto a one show, and they're like, "That was sick," and that's what they want to see. But I think for me, coming here now and looking at like how well Westerners are doing is another really like it's a point. Not Nostradamus, but we all spoken about it pre-COVID and coming through that one day, man. Like we won't be able to match the little Thais because obviously we're not built that way. But you look at it now, and I think that like that Fairtex interview where Mr. Wong was having a go at Thais for not wanting to do their part in winning and all the rest of it. The time's now, and it's coming, and the amount of foreigners winning belts and whatnot, like it's a thing. And we probably sidetrack a little bit, and like we look at Australia coming out of COVID, and we've got like a bit of it's a distinct gap between like the top guys and the up and comers, and there's this little void here, and I feel like a lot of that's as a result of lockdowns and people dropping off.
Yeah. Because there's no continuous evolution. I mean, there's a 2-3 year gap, right?
Yeah.
So
and that whole thing got wiped out, and you look at what's happening now. Like Buriram was like the epicenter of Muay Thai development, and Isan and all the guys, like all the kids had fought their way through that whole thing from whatever age they fought through. That's only just starting to come back, or just started to come back. So here is even going to be worse. Like kids fighting at 17 to 19 and 20 who should have been stadium champions with over 200 fights under their belt, or 100, whatever it is you want to call it. They haven't got it. And now they're going to come up against a big, strong white guy who's cut weight properly, might have a bit of like minimal amount of like technical skills, but he's going to send it and he wants to win.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. Like, if we're going to talk about that, I want to address the issue of the gap in the grassroots movement here, because I was talking to Bank about this, about now that there's all this entertainment Muay Thai and post-COVID, one of the things I'm worried about is the lack of development in the grassroots level of Muay Thai, because right now we're seeing all the old superstars like Sexan, Tawan Chai, just absolutely smoking everybody. But is that really going to drive the grassroots movement to want to achieve that? Do you think there's going to be like a point in time, like I'm talking in the near future, within the next 1 or 2 years, whether the Muay Watch shows, whether the grassroots development shows in Isan are really going to happen? Is there a drive in that point, because everybody's fighting at such a high entertainment level now? Do you think, is that grassroots movement going to die because there's such that gap there, the no middle ground?
Yeah, well, yeah, like I think, like when you look at some of those superstars, like they've done all their work, but should they really be there now? Like, if the up and comers, so like your Sanchais and Pep Punchus and Saget Dows and all those guys back then, they were constantly being pushed by up and comers and all the rest of it. Those guys have done all that, obviously, but now they're in the entertainment business. They're not having that same like amount of competition with the up and comers. But I think more to your point around the development side of things, like it's happened recently with me. Like we used to send boys over here, always send them up north or wherever, because that's where they can learn their trade and learn how to stand properly, how to pace themselves over a 5-round fight, get the rounds in and get some consistency and learn that true style. Whereas now, like if I'm sending them over, well, they choose to go to Phuket, and that's fine. Like, but when you're going down to Phuket, most of the time they're not fighting Thais, which is, again, it's okay, but they're not fighting for 5 rounds half the time, and they're just punch-ons. Like some of the quality, and you look at some of the things that are happening with guys getting stitched up and all the rest of it, it's pretty man. Like, so I think the development aspect, it's got to come from somewhere, and I don't know where it's going to come from. The kids fights are all starting to happen again now, obviously, from what I've seen online and stuff like that. But
yeah, I think that
time.
That's one thing that a shout out to the bosses, so Dechapan, Chet, Quintet. He's really passionate about, the kids getting their rounds in. So he sends a lot of the boys up to Korat and really pushes them to go on a lot of the kids' promotions. I mean, they've only got a handful of really young boys, like 10, 11, 8, but they're fighting constantly. They're fighting every 2 weeks. And on Facebook, I mean, my reading of Thai is not fantastic. I can barely read Thai, but from what I can understand is that a lot of the kids' fights, like the purists, are really being pushed up in Isan and like down south as well. So it's cool to see some of the big gyms like Saw Dechapan trying to push the young guns through. What I'd really like to see, and maybe I'm a bit like trying to romanticize it a little bit, is like, like how War Watana in Isan, they do like the charity projects with, taking the kids in because there's all the problems with the drugs and stuff up there. Seeing more kind of those projects up in Isan and developing more fighters like that. I know the WBC, Kevin Nguyen was doing something, maybe not last year, but the year before, about that.
They do it like
Yeah.
they're starting now, and that's the thing. So that's cool, and all the rest of it. And I feel like that window now is out. I should say it's like our time, but the Western's time is now.
Yeah,
To really like capitalize on that gap. Hopefully it comes back because they're all fighting again, but I don't know,
But then again, like, okay, like I've spoken to JP Gallagher and we've spoken about this, and yet like now is the foreign time. We're absolutely tearing it up.
Yeah.
Foreigners are tearing it up, but without ties, there is no Muay Thai. Like straight up, they are the pillar and the foundation.
They don't even. They're missing trainers. That's the other side.
Yeah.
All the trainers are overseas, man. So that's a big gap in that. Because if someone's good, then why are you going to stand around and hold pads and get paid 10,000 baht a month max, and then maybe get some tips from your fighters? Or I'm going to go down to Phuket and get 10 to 30 plus PTs. Get plucked by a foreigner to go China, Australia, America, and get paid.
And do half the work for all the money.
Yeah. So
I mean, maybe that's something that needs to be addressed as well. With like in the scene here is like maybe putting like a lot of fighters purses have gone up recently, plus the bonuses. Maybe that's something that needs to be addressed in the scene is about paying trainers properly. I mean, I'm not trying to tread on anybody's toes here, but that is a thing. That is a common thing that has been here for years. Is that trainers getting paid really about $400 a month? $480 a month.
But I don't know the ins and outs of it in the Phuket scene and stuff. But my wife's a good example. Graduated out of uni, goes to teach in a school, legitimate job and educated to do it, and then you walk into like a 10,000-12,000 baht a month job.
That's true.
And then fighters were earning like 30k or whatever in some of the big gyms pre-COVID, so they were going okay, but I don't know. I just don't know how it's working now.
I mean that's a whole different subject, like the economy of of the world,
Or even for us. So we were talking about it before, like the rent increases are a big thing, and rent increases for businesses, rent increases for residential. People want to get paid more to be a trainer, whatever, which is awesome. But then, is the actual membership fees that people are charging, is that going to be enough to support that? And so there's a whole lot of navigating to get through, I think, both like here and on the international scene, to try and make it all work in the future,
Yeah, it's a strange thing trying to make it all sustainable for everyone, because that's one of the tough issues is the people are the first, members are the first to complain about membership fees, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you've put it $5 up from last month.
Yeah.
But then, they don't realise that the landlord has actually put the rent up another $1,000. And you're not getting any more space. So
yeah, that's a tricky one. That's really tricky. Everything's going up, and then like even the equipment's going up. So people say, a pair of gloves is expensive these days. I'm like, yeah, it is, but it costs me a lot of money to buy it now too. Costs twins a lot of money to make it now too, and then it costs even more to ship it now. Where a lot of the time the shipping's costing more than the actual equipment. It's a crazy world, man.
I think like going to that, I think the consumer lacks a lot of empathy. I come from a pretty like liberal / unionist background, but coming into like thinking about starting my own business and that sort of thing a little bit more, I think consumers, especially in Muay Thai consumers, lack a lot of empathy when it comes to like a business owner or a trainer or a gym owner. Like I remember when we had this discussion the other night, and I was telling you when I was a fighter, there are a lot of things that you did that I didn't like, but then 5-6 years down the road, now that I'm matured, have gotten a lot of that was good for me.
Yeah.
And then back then, I have to remember, like, you were nearly the same age that I am now, but you were running a business, you had 2 kids, a wife, and you're a trainer. When a lot of fighters, when you're in your 20s, you lack empathy.
Yeah.
Especially guys, because you don't get your frontal lobe till you're about 25. So, yeah, I mean, if there's one big lesson we can take from this podcast, it's like having empathy for your trainer, having empathy for the stress that they go through running a business, not only trying to keep it like an authentic fight camp, but fighters don't keep the lights on. That's one true thing is fighters don't keep the lights on. If there's one thing you can take from this, have some empathy for the people who run your gym.
We're really lucky. Like, you can't, I get it, like, even for me, you can't expect everybody to understand your own struggles and what goes on in the background, because it is what it is. But I feel like we're really spoilt in Sydney, or maybe in Australia, or even in Thailand at the moment. We're really spoilt for the quality of service, facilities, everything at the moment. Like, we're super. I just remember when, you know, in back when I was training, there was no Thais teaching. You had to go down to the local Thai store and buy a VCR to try and watch it. You try and source it out everything. It's like digging through crates for a DJ. We're going to Thai town trying to find all this. Then you might get a trip over to Thailand, and then you're like, oh, whatever, every DVD that you can put, best of Songchai you can find from down at the Twin store, or someone does a seminar. Man, like, I just remember the first time I did a seminar and there was a bunch of Thais that Stefan Fox had brought over. I was just looking at these guys going, man, this is crazy. But now it's the norm. You
just look on your phone.
Yeah, or look on your phone. Look on YouTube, on the big TVs. You can got it, and then you can walk into any gym, and there's a Thai in your gym. We got 2-3 Thais at our gym. There's got like 8. There's like 30 Thais in Sydney at the moment training, and you know, we're just blessed. We really are, and I think it's a good thing. But in the end, everybody just be a little bit empathetic to the gym owner. Sometimes we can be. There's a reason and a method to our madness. Sometimes.
Yeah, but even take it like myself as well. Like, I'm not a big businessman or anything like that, but I understand the struggles that people go through. So I think people need to be a little bit more aware of you're paying for a service, but you have to understand that people sweat to provide you that service.
Well, like,
so,
this is where I feel like we're in a bit of a transition phase for our value and our bang for buck, because you look at a CrossFit gym or a like your local whatever, I don't even know what they call it, like a HIIT gym or like a S&C gyms or whatever,
or like a boutique gym, you know.
They're in Sydney. They're charging. Even an F45, man, they're charging anything from $70 to $125 plus. And here we are. We're not all university graduates and whatnot, but, you know, we've got guys I'm into my 25th odd year, fighters who have had, like, given up their life to do that. And they have, like, someone's in a class and you've literally got 1, 2, 3 people walking around trying to help you, giving you corrections on your thing, and they've got a fountain of knowledge to give you, but we're umming and ahhing about putting our prices up by $5 on a $50 membership. That's a bit, and I hope that changes, and I hope the gym owners also know their wealth and that they can all rise together, because when we first started, everyone was just like, what's old mate paying down the road? So we're like, oh yeah, well, we can't do anything higher than that. But, well, actually, what old mate pays in Sydney out west versus Sydney to inner west versus Sydney city versus the eastern suburbs, like for the Sydney people who might be listening, that's a whole different ball game of money. So they can't be the same, but they definitely should be earning more than what we're earning at the moment.
And I do think like $5 extra a month is not a lot to ask. That's
coffee,
one. That's one less coffee a month. or
A
like,
week.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I know, it's like,
So, anyway, that's my rant for today regarding gym memberships. But like I said, we're spoiled, and I think the level is amazing, and the level of fighters is amazing. I hopefully you would see it online anyway, but hopefully if you ever come back and you get to see one of our development events, the C class guys, and man, the quality is. It's better than some of the stuff you see here,
dude. It's crazy the level of Muay Thai in Australia at the moment. You're watching guys who have had maybe 3-4 fights. They're fighting like they've had 10, 13.
Even first timers look sick, man.
Yeah.
Really good. And overseas.
It's a real testament to the level of training in Australia, and that goes throughout all the gyms. Like, I think Australia is doing a really amazing job with the level of Muay Thai at the moment, like clean technique. It also goes out to the sanctioning bodies as well, who are doing a really good job of, like making sure that the officiating is concise and consistent throughout all the sanctioning bodies. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, but it seems from when I was fighting, it seems a lot more consistent and a lot more transparent than it was back in 2013, 2014.
Yeah,
so I mean, everybody's been working their ass off, but coming from an outside perspective, Muay Thai in Australia is shit hot at the moment, and a lot of people have been saying that.
That's good to hear.
Like, I mean, honestly, you got to look at guys like Matt Lucas, who's investing a lot of time and energy into trying to promote and market Australian Muay Thai. He could drop his hat and just go, no, I'll focus on my home country. But he sees a lot of opportunity and a lot of talent there that's worth telling the stories. So, I mean, that says a lot for the work, like, you guys in Muay Thai Australia and Muay Thai New South Wales have been doing over the last, 5-6 years.
It's been good.
Yeah, it's been real good. It's been real good.
Yeah, so sounds like Europe's doing well and everywhere else is going good too. So hopefully it all brings everyone up together and we can go hard. But and the other thing I find really interesting too is that, and this is the argument around, maybe it will later, but does 3-round fighting over here impact what we do back home? I don't really think it does, because what, back home everyone wants to fight 5 rounds, man.
Yeah.
I'm always screaming to fight 5 rounds, but we can't because our cards aren't shaped and the business model doesn't work that way. So we can't have just like a Channel 7 Sunday where it's 4 to 6 fights,
five,
for 2 hours and off you go. We just can't sell enough tickets for that to happen. But now we're just 3 rounds all the way up, and then you have like if 2 or 3 5-rounders at the end. But shout out to Sai and Rebellion and putting on 5 or 6 of them and making us sit there for 7 hours of Muay Thai. But geez, it's good. It's so good.
Big shout out to Sai. Big shout out to Sai. Yeah. Even though you tormented me for years.
Same, don't worry.
Big fan. I mean, big fan of what Sai's doing and have been.
Sick.
I mean, this was one of the things I've discussed before with Hugh, was back when I was fighting in around the year of like 2012 to 2017.
Yeah.
Rebellion was like the RWS or the one of Australia. Like, that's the show that everybody wanted to fight on. Like, it was like Nuggets Evolution back in that era. Also a shout out to Nugget for paving that way, that legacy. But Rebellion in my era of fighting was the show that everybody wanted to be on. And I was blessed with the opportunity, even though I lost both times, was to get onto that, because it was pure, unadulterated, 100% Muay Thai. And it still is, and he's stuck to that brand.
And you get your shorts with it.
Oh yeah, that's the big thing.
That's what everyone wants.
Like, doing all this media stuff, I still get stoked over getting like free t-shirts.
Sick, eh?
Like, I did RWS the other day and I was like, I don't even give a about the. I just want the free
I
T-shirt.
wanted that shirt. I saw it on you. I probably fit the same size now too.
Fight me for it. Fight me for it, bro.
But the Rebellion one, it's a good one. Like, what do you call it? I reckon it's Rebellion 2.0 because the last couple of shows and the way that Si's really up the ante, like that. So two Rebellions ago, you know, we had the big walkout and everything like that.
That's right.
I was sitting there, I was going, man, this is like, wow. But then next show, which was the last one we had, it was like the production, everything, like, and I think probably hard to explain for people who haven't fought on it or be a part of a Rebellion weekend. The way that Si sets up his events, it's like, I don't like the word a lot of the time because it reminds me of that what's the fat loss show, The Journey.
I think it's more okay. I think it's more of a festival than a show.
Man,
I would say it's more like a Muay Thai festival than a show because it doesn't just start at the start time and end with the show. I mean, you got the weigh-ins, and then there's all the marketing around the weigh-ins, and then you've got the actual show, and then the post party, which I'm sure a lot of people go to and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's more of like a Muay Thai festival, especially with the Roots format, and then going to the proper Rebellion show. Like,
well, the thing I like is that over the years he's put these little traditions that go along with the show and the weekend, right? So, you know, obviously you've got your Hall of Fame awards, which is really cool now. He had the ring or the dog tags for the guys who have fought a certain amount of time. And then now he's presenting shorts to the Roots guys who he wants to fight on Rebellion for the next fight, which is really cool. He did
that's sick, yeah.
The last one to, I think KOSRG got it. So big shout out to the Sydney boys. But even out the back shed, so I put a story up the other day around it, a reel on it, is that when you walk into Rebellion on the night, you go out the back, and then obviously everyone's got the thing, and it's just like a big reunion for everyone that you get to see again. Then you don't put your gloves on yourself. So he'll have either Benny out there, but he's got his own gym now, so he's got Boy out there. They've got, when you walk out now, the sickest thing at the last show, which I hope stays, is that you get a box and it's got your name on it, and you open it up, you got your shorts, your hand wraps.
Oh, that's sick. It's like a gift package. Yeah.
And he had the Quest singlet on there this time. So everyone was out the back, and we got it, and like, oh, yeah, mad. So then you're getting ready, and then when it's time to go, everyone's watching the fights out the back. But then when it's time to go, then when you go to walk out on the stage, he's got that awesome, display beautiful Muay Thai with the Jordan Code picture on it. I even get goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah.
You're standing there waiting to go out, and you're looking at that picture, and you're looking at the runway to go out, and then when it's on, it's like mad. But then, like, he's even got his song, so a lot of people probably don't understand or notice, but if anybody's a bit of a Muay Thai geek and feels like going back through Rebellion and some of the streams and stuff, it's probably a bit hard, but he always plays songs to start the show.
Yep.
He'll play songs before the end of the show, and it's his whole... it's just like, man, it's just sick.
Mate, I honestly think this is a testament to like Si's legacy that he's built, and the branding of it as well. Because, okay, for me, for example, not the most amazing fighter, not the most fantastic fighter. If you look at my record, probably more losses than wins, but that's okay. That's all right. That's okay. But when Matt introduces me to people here, and even one of the guys from RWS introduced me to some of the Thais. He's like, oh, this is Joe. He does a lot of media work, and also back in the day he used to fight on Rebellion.
That's sick.
And they go, oh.
That's cool. That's
so, Si, if you're listening, I think that's a real kind of testament to the brand that you've built. And also, segueing here, fly me over to commentate on your show.
Yes.
And give me a free T-shirt.
Free T-shirt would be nice. I didn't get one the last one. But that's so cool, because that's kind of like, well, when we're doing our resumes for trainers to come over and all the rest of it, where you fought, what are the big stadiums you fought at? So now, because of that's your recognition. It's pretty cool.
It's almost like, oh shit, he knows what he's talking about because he's fought on such a prestigious promotion in Australia.
I'm a rebellion fighter.
Yeah.
There you go.
Former alumni of Sainaji.
They should have a reunion one day and put everyone up there.
Oh, mate, and Sai and I have commentated together as well.
Oh, where?
At Fairtex fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to hear that.
That was good, man. He was good. He was
Is he well behaved?
He was pretty well behaved. He didn't insult me that time.
Lucky I wasn't on there.
Yeah.
Cop it all the time, but
oh well, fair enough too.
Lovely to be here.
Yeah. We were just talking off camera about social media, and at the moment, like, there's a lot of guys who are doing things a lot for the sport. And one of the questions I wanted to ask Andy, because when I was fighting, social media was just starting to become a real thing about building your profile. Like, when I was fighting, the normal thing was sort of, you were given a bunch of tickets by a promoter and expected to sell about 20 to even make $200, so you would get 10% of a ticket.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that was to really promote yourself on Instagram. And so I wasn't the best fighter. If anybody in Sydney is listening, they'll remember my career. That's okay. I'm not.
You're always so hard on yourself.
I'm guy about it. But one of the things I did do well was promoting myself on social media. And because it was one of the things I was comfortable with was about being on the internet. So what I want to ask you is, now that we've got this new evolution of social media, I'd say emphasis within the sport, what do you think fighters can do to promote themselves better, and what could they do on social media to make themselves not seem fake, but a little bit more authentic to their viewers?
We've got a cultural issue in Australia. I feel like the younger guys are getting it much better. Like the whole tall poppy syndrome thing.
Right. Yeah.
I've spoken about it, especially if I speak to American friends. They're just like, "What are you talking about? Like, why do you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? That type of stuff." But just for absolute basics, just share the poster. I've spoken about it with a few different people before, but don't be so shy about it. Like, I don't feel comfortable doing stuff, and I never did, but I've had to force myself to actually just start to relax a little bit and kind of just go it, you know. But maybe that's because I'm getting old, and when you get older you care a little bit less. But just have a crack. Like, you just got to take small steps, and it would have been much like you doing like this, and yours, Joe 2.0 over here doing your thing, is that just take those like small steps, and if you don't know, ask someone. And like, even like, I love the things that like Matt Lucas and Clinton, or guys like that are doing, where they're going and they're reaching out to people and they're teaching them how to promote themselves. And I think people are still a little bit like hesitant to do stuff like that. It's like, why wouldn't you go do something like that if it's going to help you, you know? Like, but we're still just this whole country where we got people that are still like being like, but you know what? You're willing to jump in the ring in front of anywhere from 200 to 1,000 people and punch on. What's so hard about jumping on and doing a little bit of social media work? I do feel like the best thing that's starting to come out now, like with some changes with Instagram around collaboration.
Yes.
That's helped me and my guys a lot, because, I mean, you're a fighter. You don't have time to be out. I mean, you're training hard, you're tired, you work full time and so you couldn't be sitting around filming and editing, and if you got nothing and you're dieting, like all of that is very hard. But gym owners can now do it for you, bring you into it, and it brings their viewers in on it.
Yeah, and for people in Thailand, that's where like guys like myself and Matt Lucas and the guys from Combat Industries, shout out to them, come in. Like, we're passionate about this and helping people out. Like, you can reach out to us, or we'll reach out to you. Mostly like in my spare time, a lot of this stuff I don't do for money. I just go out to gyms and interview people or go to shows. It's about growing the sport, and if you're not comfortable in front of a camera, you can just ask, and we'll help you. Like, this is a joint effort, and I think that's a really good thing that you brought up. Is about Muay Thai is about collaboration. It's not just about yourself. It's about the community, and if you're shy in front of a camera, you can ask people who are experienced about it. And if you don't have the time to edit, you can get, people like me, or, even guys in Australia who are doing a similar thing to just, just collaborate on an Instagram post. That doesn't take that much to do it. It's so
easy now, man. Like, it's... So they got auto cut on TikTok, man. Like, it's so easy. You just get a few photos and up you go, click auto cut, pick your favorite track. You got your hype reel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a few different parts to it. Like, as a fighter, especially when you first start, everyone loves you. Like, hey, my mate's fighting. Yeah, cool, sweet. They pay you to go to your first fight. Everyone loves it. Sweet. You fight again. I'm fighting again. Oh, yeah. Second one. Yeah, sweet.
10 fights then.
10 fights in.
Nobody gives.
And then by then also, you probably don't have as many friends because you've lost your friends because you can't go out with them anymore because you're a pro fighter. Yeah. You're training 6 days a week. You couldn't be going out. Like, you know what I mean? So then you're losing friends and then they're not buying your tickets. So you got this like double-edged sword whereby you...
Tinder dates as well, mate.
Yeah,
I remember that was a sad period in my 20s down there in Manly.
I missed that time. All I had back then was Tape. Oh, anyway, not Tape.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go down there. But yeah, so there's that. And I just don't hate on other people who are. Like, we all like to have a bit of a giggle when someone puts something up. But I think the biggest thing for Aussies is we've got to... Yes, I reckon, obviously, apart from Thais, because they've got a great sense of humour, we've got a great sense of humour. Have a giggle about stuff. Make fun of yourself. I've started making fun of myself a lot more than what I used to, but jump in, have a crack. If someone else is having a dig, or actually just having a go at filming or making something, what's wrong with chucking a few flames on there? Get on there. If you love arts, like, it takes nothing out of your day to show someone a little bit of support or even share it on the story rather than slagging them off. And one person, like, in particular that I want to give a bit of a shout out to is Chris from Teep Muay Thai. Chris.
Oh, yeah. So, I like Chris's stuff.
Man, it's the best. But probably, like, all the funny shit aside, I think one of his best traits is that even he doesn't have to go to shows. He doesn't have to go to gyms. He's got however many followers he's got. He could just be making money doing what he wants to do. But he voluntarily goes to Muay Thai events to cover them, to help the promoter promote the event.
Yeah.
He comes to gyms like ours and other gyms. Now he's doing like a bit of a gym circuit where he's going to the gym to help promote the gym. And even like, man, like, you know what he even did to me, which was that just like he rose up to like sky high for me. We had the seminar where we did not long ago with Yod Witcher. He just come and did the shooting for his reels before, and he goes, "Oh man, you got Yod Witcher coming on Saturday?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "You want to come?" He's like, "Yeah, sweet, I'll come." And then rocked up on the day, and me being me, I lived it to the last minute to print the guest list out and who'd paid and all the rest of it. Man, the bloke had already booked in and paid for himself to come. He wasn't like one of those Insta who's got 100,000 followers and just rocks up and says, "Hey, I'm this. Can I train?" Like, which that in itself is okay too. So, but
I mean,
it just showed how genuine a guy is.
It has its place, but you're going to get a lot further by really showing like your authenticity within the sport. Because I mean, let's be honest, like at the end of the day, like we're really nobodies in the big scheme of things. Like this isn't like billion-dollar
tiny.
rugby. This ain't American football. This is friggin' Thai boxing, man. And I mean, you and I have spoken about this before. Like, people need to themselves before they wreck themselves.
Yes.
And like, if you think you're a bigwig in Muay Thai, like, you ain't like, we're Muay Thai is sick, don't get me wrong. It's the best sport in the world.
Yeah.
But we're not pulling in millions of dollars, all right? So you just got to check yourself. Guys like Chris Fairtex who are doing that stuff is amazing. Like, he's not a fighter. He's not a guy who comes from an analytical position of the sport. May not have the most amazing knowledge from what I can see, but he's promoting it. Like, he's
got a bigger platform than anyone's got, and he really tries.
He's authentically promoting it with his heart. And there's a lot of guys in Bangkok, like foreigners within the scene, who would like write somebody off like that. And just like, I just say like give these guys a chance, because they might not come from the legitimate like Rocky Balboa upbringing that we came from, but it's promoting the sport, dude. It's all these little things give way for athletes to get further. It promotes gyms, it promotes promoters. It's all about at the end of the day, it's about the fighters, and it gives opportunities to them.
I think it's really cool, and I like the way that guys like that do that. I also like the way that so commentators now are using their platforms, like at the highest level, even in boxing, got like your Teddy Atlases and stuff like that.
Right.
But then, like, you've got your Michael Chavellos and your Mark Castanidis and guys like that who are actually, they've got a platform, and they're now starting to help, like, because people follow them.
Yeah.
And they're their own like thing, so that also brings people in. So we've got this really cool network of people who are helping now to start to promote stuff. Now I really hope that the fighters continue, because you've got your fighters who are marketable and actually do it, and that's great, but there's a lot that are just really just not having a crack, and they should be, because they're marketable, they're awesome athletes, and they've probably got a really interesting story too. And if you tell that story and you bring people along for that whole journey thing, people will want to come and watch you fight,
I think that's like going back to that question about, what can fighters do. I remember Mark Abbott, who is the MC for Fairtex fight. He's like pretty successful foreigner here in Thailand, lived here for 17 years, can speak perfect Thai.
Amazing.
Oh, his Thai is...
I'm so jealous.
Yeah. สวัสดีครับ คุณมาครับ โรเรือนะครับ He loves his rollers. Nah, shout out to Mark. He's a good mate. He's a really good bloke. But he was saying on Instagram, maybe a couple of months ago, I remember this reel he did. He says, the best thing you can do as a fighter, so if you're listening and you're a fighter and you want to up your social media game, tell your story. People want to hear narratives. People want to hear about you, your struggles, your triumphs. The best thing you can do is tell your story. And I mean, that's one thing promotions can learn from as well.
Yeah.
Is about, it doesn't take much to do a little bit of a media reel about telling the story between maybe like, revenge or rematch, between two fighters that have fought between each other before. People like to hear narratives. People have been hearing narratives for thousands of years. That's what we want to hear, especially in combat sports. So I think
your last one, man. That's why, like your last chat with sorry, I don't know. Is it Ali? No.
Ali. Yeah.
But that was cool. Like, I was like, listen to him, and not unlike a lot of blokes and women like who get into the sport. He's got a legit reason why he got into it, and I thought that was really, really cool. So after that, jump in, have a bit of a look, and I think it's something that really people need to start doing better at, and myself included. Like, I think we as men, I don't know about the women, it might be a bit different, but as men, we know why we got into our sport, and we know we've done, like, we did it, but we don't often express why, or potential insecurities or whatever was going on in our life at the time to be able to jump into a sport like this.
Yeah.
And then how cool is it when you break through those issues and then you actually excel and you become this like a greyhound, and you're doing and you're performing like.
Yeah, I mean, like, using Ali as an example. Ali's a really good guy. He So basically, for those who don't know, Ali Makoni is one of the main commentators here in Thailand.
Should have a listen. It's good.
Yeah. He's shout out to Ali. He's a commentator on Super Champ. So he's talking about his story, his origin story of Muay Thai. He went through a really dark period where, you know, he didn't know himself and he didn't know what he was going to do with his life. And basically, Muay Thai gave him direction. And now he's probably one of the top commentators here in Bangkok, gets asked to do a lot of shows. And that's one of the things, like, guys really need to break, especially men, need to break through the barrier of opening themselves up. I don't think there's any harm in being honest with others about yourself, because I think one of the, like, we're speaking about mental health now, but I think it's an important thing to speak about. Is one of the biggest areas of growth is about being honest about yourself with others. And, you know, you said before, like, I'm hard on myself about my fight career. I don't think I was hard enough on myself during that period. And that's probably why that's why I didn't excel to the level that I wanted to be. So it's like, it takes time to be honest with yourself, but if you're a guy and you're a fighter, the first thing you need to do is be honest with yourself and what you want and what you want to get from your career, but also be honest with other people. You can't bullshit a bullshit at the end of the day, really. Like,
Yep. That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Thank you for joining me, Andy. It's been awesome to catch up with you while you're here. Also, not only just a platonic level, but to pick your brain about a few subjects that we're quite passionate about. If you like this episode, please like, subscribe, and share, not only on YouTube, but Spotify as well. Like me on Instagram, Joe Comerford Muay Thai, and where can they find you?
Me, Andrew, PTJ Muay Thai on Instagram.
And what's the name of your gym?
PTJ Muay Thai Gym, baby.
In Sydney, New South Wales, God's country. I will see you next time. Thank you.